Austria. He is President of Austria-Pakistan Association, Mr. Shahid Nadeem. And we have with us together Dr. Kaisar Anis, the President of Pakistan Business Professional Council. We have Mr. Hassan Raza, Head of the Product and Research, Pakistani Stock Exchange. We have Mr. Raza Jafri, the Director, Research and Intermarket Securities. With us is Ms. Ifat Mankani. She is CEO, JS Investments, Pakistan. I will be moderating and will be welcoming the questions from all of you. As you are aware, Pakistan Business and Professional Council works on the well-being of the business community, originally from Pakistan, living in the United Arab Emirates. We continue our struggle to invite Pakistanis and non-Pakistanis to invest in Pakistan, whether it is in the industry or it is in business or stock exchange. We have carried out a number of sessions on Russian digital bank account together with the State Bank of Pakistan. We have been dealing with the delegations coming from Pakistan who wish to invite people for investment in Pakistan. Day before yesterday, we had the delegation from Gilgit-Baltistan, who are currently the monthly host of Expo on the Pakistan's pavilion. And our struggle is to pass on this message to fellow overseas Pakistanis, and with the help of Mr. Shahid Nadeem in the European sector also, that one of the best and secured way of overseas Pakistanis investment is going through the stock markets in Pakistan, rather than going as entrepreneurs. And I guess that not only brings a very healthy investment in Pakistan, helps in developing the capital market, and in turn develops the industries in the country. Today will be a more technical session, and I'm sure our learned members from the Pakistani Stock Exchange will be giving more briefing for the professionals and non-professional investors, how we can boost investment to Pakistan, and as well as increase our investment incomes between individuals and the fellow family members. I would also like you, the learned to encourage the ladies also to participate in the investments in a stock exchange. I guess that is more better for them than running the small boutiques in various parts of the world. And that could be a home income as well as an encouragement for them to participate more in the economic sectors of Pakistan. I would be requesting Dr. Kaisar Anis, the President, Pakistan Business and Professional Council, to give a welcoming note to the participants. Dr. Kaisar.
Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Dr. Adishai Saab, thank you for detailed introduction of the council and a brief about our webinar and the names for the speaker. Thank you very much. I welcome to the webinar on Pakistan Stock Exchange, the new ETFs and the KSC 100 performance in MSCI frontier market. This is an opportunity for the overseas Pakistani and even in Pakistan. From this, I would like to welcome Mr. Hassan Raza of Pakistan Stock Exchange, Mr. Raza Jafri of Intermarket Securities, Mr. Ifat Mankani of JS Investment, my members of the council, the community from United Arab Emirates, and all the overseas Pakistanis. And even from Pakistan, there are many participating. I would like to take this opportunity to thank the Pakistan Stock Exchange. As Pakistan Stock Exchange, the CEO, their management are forefront working together with the council. And this is in the series many, but in this subject of the stock exchange, the third in number. And the purpose of this, that this will educate all the overseas Pakistanis how they can invest in these products, as they are the assets for Pakistan, and they are always assets in all crucial time. This webinar series in line with promoting Roshan Digital Account and investing in Pakistan Stock Exchange. As Dr. Adishah mentioned, that we have series on Roshan Digital Account, also maybe 7 on that, together with State Bank of Pakistan. And with that resultant, there are some contribution from the Pakistan Business Professional Council on the 3.5 billion deposit in Pakistan. I again from here thank Mr. Shahid Nadeem, President of Austria-Pakistan Association, who is one of leading in Europe with other representatives there, like Mr. Tariq Javed Saab, the community representative from Germany, Dr. Huma Jamshed, community representative from Spain, Mr. Chaudhry Shahzad, community representative from Switzerland, and Mrs. Sadaf Mirza, community representative from Denmark. In this webinar, the speaker will elaborate how the investor can access the Pakistan Stock Exchange and invest through ETF and the specific ETF structure, and highlights how Pakistan Stock Exchange performing in the MSCI frontier market. Now, I just want to brief the participant. What is an ETF? Of course, in the stock market, they have individual stock, individual sector. But if you want to invest in equity, fixed income securities, and find it difficult to select the sector, identify security, conduct research, or track dividend, coupon, cap, then the ETF does it all for you. You don't have to put all work on that. It aims to track the specified benchmark index, which providing real-time price of the fund throughout the day. An exchange-traded fund is an investment product, collective investment scheme offered by asset management companies, consisting of a basket of securities that tracks an index. ETFs are available to investors on exchange through stockbrokers and trade like stock with real-time pricing during trading hours on an exchange. Therefore, they share the characteristic of both open-ended and mutual fund and stock. How do ETF pay out? ETF can potentially have 2 types of return, like normal capital gains. Investor can trade ETFs like a stock by buying at a low price and selling at a high price to realize a profit gain. So that is sort of a capital earning. But there is a dividend also. The fund manager usually receives dividends from the securities that comprise the ETF basket. The dividends may be distributed to ETF unit holder after the deduction of management fee, etc. Dividend distribution policy of the ETFs are described in their prospectus or offering document. Why should I invest in ETF? ETF can offer lower operating costs than traditional open-ended fund, flexible trading, and greater transparency by disclosing all holding, etc. And ETF is one way to invest in the stock market without buying individual stock exchange. By investing in an ETF, your money is instantly diversified across all of the underlying security in the basket. ETFs provide an easy way to diversify across different stocks, commodities, bonds, or other securities in the market, where many ETF across multiple asset classes exist. Now coming to KEC, and then you say, what is KEC Index 100? The KEC Index 100 is designed to measure the performance of 100 companies which comprise the sector's largest market capitalization companies and highest market capitalization companies. And the objective is, the primary objective of the KEC 100 index is to have a benchmark by which the stock price performance can be compared to over a period of time. In particular, the KEC 100 is designed to provide investor with a sense of how the Pakistan equity market is performing. Thus, the KEC 100 is similar to other indicators that track various sectors of the Pakistan economic activity, such as the Gross National Product Consumer Price Index. Now you say, what is the difference between index fund and ETF? The main difference between an ETF and an index fund is ETF can be traded, bought and sold during the day, and index funds can only be traded at the set price point at the end of the trading day. Coming to explain on MSCI Frontier Market, what is MSCI Frontier Market? The MSCI Frontier Market index capture large and mid-cap representation across 28 frontier markets. The index includes 90 constituents covering about 85% of the float-adjusted market capitalization in each market. Lastly, the Roshan Digital Account, Pakistan Digital Account RDA inflows reached to 3.382 billion at the end of the January 2017 month since the program was launched. Out of the overall 3,382,000,000 deposited in RDA, 2,319,000,000 or almost 68% have been invested in Naya Pakistan certificate, which is great. The data shows out of the total investment in NPC, 1,278,000,000 have been invested in conventional NPC, whereas 1,041,000,000 have been invested in Islamic NPC. A meager 34 million has made its way to the Pakistan trade. So our job is to expand this amount as much as we can. This is the central bank data. This is our target, and this account, as we say, can be opened in 175 countries of RDA. So from this webinar, I want to request all the participants to invest in ETF. With that, I would like to invite Mr. Shahid Nadeem for his message for all the participants and the area in the European areas.
Thank you very much, Dr. Anis and Pakistan Stock Exchange, Hassan Raza Saab, Raza Jafri Saab, and Ifat Makhani Saiba, and the other Dr. Hadi Said Saab, and other PBC members sitting here joining us, and all the other attendees who are attending this webinar. I would say is a great idea that we are organizing time to time such webinar to educate overseas community, because overseas community, I believe, is a major pillar who can contribute a lot in Pakistan Stock Exchange and bring a big major change. But the thing is, what I have observed, there is a lack of knowledge. People are not aware of how they can approach, how they can invest, the way, the path to invest in stock exchange. By organizing such webinar, definitely this will improve the situation and people will aware in the future about how to invest and the path they can invest in. In our end, Pakistan, Austria-Pakistan Association, time to time, we are organizing such information session to educate our members and to educate the community around us. We are expanding our network also to involving other representatives from the countries, like we have already 6 to 7 countries already have involved: Germany, France, Switzerland, Spain, Denmark, and Italy. They are already on board, and we are expanding this network to all over the EU to have at least 1 or 2 representatives that we can spread this message to educate people there. There are 2 things actually we see that right now. There is one class is a business class. They are already somehow involved in a stock exchange or major schemes. They are taking advantage of it. But the other class is the normal common community. There is a lack of education, so such webinars definitely will educate them, and we are spreading it. Right now is the COVID, so we are doing it virtual, but we have time to time physical events as well. So I would like to also request to the representatives here, if there is possible, they can also circulate us the material. If there is any marketing material they can provide us, we can circulate to community, we can circulate it to our members, and we can also physically give to the members and the community attend our events. The way we can more educate the people and they can involve and invest in a future. The other things, what I was saying, if it's possible, because right now there is a class other than US, Canada, Australia, or UK, we see there is a English language, and still I see that 60% people are not very good in English. So we have to also bring, but they have money. That I would also say they have money, but they are not very good in English. So they don't know how to follow up exactly to invest there. So it's also good if there are any informative material you have in Urdu, please also circulate it. That will also help a lot to understand people here. Especially in Europe, where are the different languages like Spanish, French, German, Italian, other languages. And people, as I say, 20-25%, they are good, but 60-65, they having money, but they are not very good in English. That will help to educate them. It's about the knowledge. It's about to educate them. They have money. Of course, the many people, their wives are sitting at the home here, and they can do this. They can spend, rather like sitting home, they can like this, if they give a 1 hour a daily or 2 hours, just take the interest in it, and they can bring a lot of change. Like they can be a part of this growing investment opportunities. And while people right now doing business here, to be honest, if this is a very good opportunity, also RDA, Russian digital account, the schemes Pakistan have right now, and the stock exchange is very attractive. We are at our end, we are trying level best to promote this as much as possible, also with your help, with Dr. Anis and all the participants here. Definitely in future, we will promote this word and spread it to around the Europe. And thank you very much for now, and looking forward to hear also.
Thank you, Shahid Nadeem Saab, for giving us a brief about the activities in Europe, and you're forming a more organized group. I'm pleased to learn that Pakistanis living in those areas are more familiar with the local languages. That expands the horizon of Pakistanis, and that expands the opportunities of the Pakistan's economy and the stock market's investment. Thank you very much for joining us.
Exactly. Sorry to interrupt. That is the issue right now, because the people living here, either they know Urdu or they are good in their own languages, like the Spanish, French, but they are not very good in English. So this can fill a gap. Like either we can, because 2 or 3 major languages, for example, Spanish, Italian, French, and German. These are the 3-4 major languages here. If we can also translate that material in these 4 languages, mean we can cover the whole Europe and the major countries in Europe. So this will also bring a lot of change.
Shahid Nadeem Saab, it's a good suggestion. Thank you very much. I'll be inviting Mr. Hassan Raza. He's the regional head of products management and research in Pakistan Stock Exchange. Mr. Hassan has over 23 years of expertise in the area of asset management, ETF, indices, financial analysis, equity research, credit analysis, and financial modeling. We'll be learning these things from him. He has, prior to joining in Pakistan Stock Exchange in 2018, Mr. Raza worked for various positions in Pakistan, North America, and Middle Eastern financial sector, remained associated with NAS Business School in Pakistan, Basata Capital, KSA, and Felcom Financial Services in KSA, Sama Central Bank of Saudi Arabia, Bank of Montreal, Canada, International Financial Data Services Limited, Canada, and Askari Commercial Bank in Pakistan. MashaAllah, well covered. You've from North America to Middle East and Pakistan. He is CFA, charter holder, MBA from University of Windsor, Ontario, Canada, and MBA from Quaid-e-Azam University, Islamabad. Mr. Hassan also holds diploma associate from Institute of Bankers of Pakistan, a Bloomberg certified equity essentials and commodity essentials, has completed Islamic financial qualification from Chartered Institute of Securities and Investments in UK, and other miscellaneous and important courses. So he is well experienced and done it. Mr. Hassan Raza, please brief us what is happening in the stock exchange. How can we go about advising the overseas Pakistanis?
Thank you very much, Dr. Shahid. I'm humbled by all this explanation or description that you have provided. Thank you very much. And Dr. Anisab, thank you very much for you have provided a great introduction of ETFs in a very summarized manner, and it covers almost all aspects. And Shahid Nadeem Saab, thank you for your introduction and giving us insight about Pakistanis living and working abroad, those areas. And thank you to all participants for joining in, our fellow citizens. And we'll also hear from Raza Jafri Saab and Ifat Mankani. So with that, I think I have some time to talk about Pakistan Stock Exchange. So I have a brief presentation. Let me see if I can share that. Okay, great. So is it visible in full screen mode? Yeah, okay.
Yes, we can see that.
Okay, so I'll be talking mostly about Pakistan Stock Exchange, a general overview of stock exchange, performance of Pakistan Stock Exchange over a certain time period. But before I do that, just a disclaimer that it's not an offer of securities or any recommendation for any securities or stock. It's a general description of how investments work in PSX. So like investment in any other stock exchange, any other asset class, this is one of the avenues that people can explore to invest in and diversify. For the benefit of investors, I'm sure you're all well aware, but just to summarize, we start with investors. So investors is the focal and center point to protect the investors' interest and develop an ecosystem, capital market system in Pakistan. We have an apex regulator, Securities and Exchange Commission of Pakistan. Pakistan Stock Exchange, being only stock exchange of Pakistan at this moment, is front-end regulator as well. But to invest in Pakistan stock market, one needs to come through intermediaries. One of those intermediaries is brokers, track holders, and we have a representative, Raza Jafri Saab, from that area. And the other way that one can invest is through asset management companies. And we have Madam Ifat also representing an AMC from Pakistan. Once somebody invests in stock market, it needs to go through a process of clearing and settlement. We have a national clearing company of Pakistan Limited that provide those services. And your shares, your investments are all held in the custody with CDC, Central Depository Company of Pakistan. And there are different type of accounts that you can park your money in. Roshan Digital is not mentioned here, but that's another one, especially for foreign Pakistanis living abroad. So that's the overall ecosystem of Pakistan capital markets. The mission for Pakistan Stock Exchange is to provide a fair, transparent, and efficient marketplace, and it's for the capital formation for the investors, for all stakeholders. And once you invest in Pakistan Stock Exchange, it's not just an investment for your own benefit. It actually goes into the economy, helps countries export, creates employments. New projects come in, new companies come in. So that capital that goes into stock market, it helps develop the country as well. It's not just for our own returns and investments. Over past 10 years, if you look at KSE 100 returns, approximately 7% annualized return is there. It has been generated despite the dollar and Pak rupees relationship. You're all well aware of that. So it's a US dollar adjusted annual returns. So once investing in Pakistan Stock Exchange, either in ETFs, shares, term finance, certificates, sukuks, you are basically helping Pakistan. You are helping create employment, and it basically, capital formation and capital markets are like lifeblood of any economy. So capital market, stock markets play a key role in that. And Pakistan has only one stock market at the moment. And for instance, since 2016, we had 22 equity listings. New companies came on and listed on a stock exchange, 27 debt instruments, 2 GEM listing. GEM is growth enterprise market. It's like to help small and medium companies come and list on a stock exchange. There were rights issue as well. So 830 billion rupees were raised by listings on Pakistan Stock Exchange since 2016. A glance at market, there are 533 listed companies, 249, half of it, or 249 are Sharia compliant. Market size is US dollar 45 billion dollars, 269,000 investors, over 200 brokers, 13 indices, and 6 ETFs. We'll briefly talk about the indices and ETFs as well. If you look at the market cap, so there are about 35 sectors in indigenous sector classification, local classification, and 25% is for others. But let's look at commercial banks. They are like 19%, oil and gas 12%, food and personal care products, cement, fertilizer, chemical, tobacco, automobile assemblers, textile, and technology companies. The rest of the sectors, make up 25% of the market cap. So it's a rich, diversified stock market from that perspective. If you look at the product suite that is offered for investors by Pakistan Stock Exchange, so I'll just quickly go over. There's a market for equities and GEM. Look at the futures. Futures are derivative instruments, and we have deliverable futures, and we have stock index future contracts. So if you want to take exposure on index contracts, there are 2-3 indices that you can take exposure on. Real estate investment trust, ETFs. The ETFs and real estate investment trust REITs, they trade on equities on ready market. Under ETF, we have one Sharia compliant ETF, and the rest of our conventional ETFs. We have corporate debts, TFCs, term finance certificates, sukuks. You can also trade government debt securities, T-bills, PIBs, sukuks, but this is through brokers. Those are enabled for trading in government securities. We have indices, conventional indices, KSE 100, the famous one, whole world knows about it, KSE 30, KSE All. Islamic indices, we have KMI, Karachi Mizan Index 30, PSX KMI All Shares, and a couple of sectoral indices. We have 6 indices. Those work as the benchmark for 6 ETFs. I'll talk about ETFs in a moment, about those ETFs. And we also provide market data, but this is more on a professional side. If you look at 10-year performance, because volatility is part of equity markets. So people who come and invest there are different types of people. Some of people, the investors, they are most, may go for a speculative run, others more on an investment note. So we are looking from an investment perspective, volatility given inherent to any equity market. Over 10 years, KSE 100 generated 6.93, 7% approximately per annum return over 10 years, US dollar adjusted. If you look at MSCI emerging markets, those generated about 4.52%. So it is like outperforming over 10 years time period. Likewise, if we look at KMI 30, so if somebody wants to take an exposure on KMI 30, which is only 30 stocks, Sharia compliant, and compare it with MSCI emerging market, so it's 5.7%, 4.52. So it is still overall investment for this time period that we're talking about, it's outperforming. If we look at ASE 100 versus MSCI frontier markets, so this is the chart that you can see over 10 years, almost close performance, 6.93, 6.86%, but again, dollar adjusted returns. And KMI 30, if compared, it's a little bit underperforming, but it's close to the performance of MSCI. So these are the two indices. One is Sharia KMI and the other is KSE 100 that we can compare with the world, emerging as well as frontier. One of the things that any investor would like to see before investing is price to earning ratio. Price to earning, very briefly put, is how much money are you paying to buy a stock whose earning is X. So it's a relationship between price and earning. So if I am buying a stock which is for 10 rupees and its earning per share is also 10 rupees, so basically theoretically speaking, I'm covering my acquisition in 1 year. So the lower the price to earning ratio, keeping other things constant, it's better for investment. But it's hard in real world to keep other things constant. So for the definition purposes, we kept it constant. So looking at Pakistan, as of January 31st, the price to earning ratio is 5.03. Moving on, by increasing price to earning Hong Kong, Sri Lanka, MSCI emerging, MSCI frontier, China, the higher the price to earning ratio, the expensive stock is. Keeping other things constant, I just try to say that so one is not misled by only price to earning ratio. There are other factors one needs to see before investing. So if you look at India, it has 25. This is average price to earning of the market. Moving on to the next, the second fundamental ratio that we look at, or one should look at while investing, is dividend yield ratio. How much dividend the stock is going to produce per annum based on the price that he or she has paid. And once again, as of January 31st, dividend yield ratio for Pakistan is 7.9%. The higher the dividend yield, the better it is. So these are the countries that we occasionally normally compare with. And if you look at this, we are best in this set of countries in terms of providing the dividend. Recent developments that Pakistan Stock Exchange has been after, and a lot of resources and attention has been there, and we have been constantly developing and improving. And ETFs is one example. So we won the Best Islamic Stock Exchange Award in 2021. Online account opening facility was introduced. So now, someone doesn't need to actually go to a brokerage house. We're talking about Pakistan, get the account open. All can be done online. We have added market makers to our debt securities segment, and about 11 market makers are there. We are acquiring a state-of-the-art new trading system implementation, hopefully planned in the first half of this year. We have signed an agreement with Deutsche Börse for market data. So more and more people, institutional and professional investors will be knowing about Pakistan by having this agreement. We have launched 6 ETFs in past 2 years, and 6 indices were also introduced. We started GEM board. 2 companies have been listed on GEM board, and COVID-19. And I'm pleased to say that the whole COVID-19 period, the stock exchange did not close, and we kept on working even with very small number of people, but it's based on the technology. And Roshan Digital Account certainly is something that almost all overseas Pakistanis are aware of. This is a joint initiative by State Bank of Pakistan, SECP, and in other institutions. Coming to ETFs, Dr. Saab gave a good introduction. So just briefly talk about names, constituents, and what these ETFs are about. So UBL ETF gives you a launch